The marathon stretch of pay-per-views is done. So much to get into, but the first question on everybody's mind is, are we accomplices to murder? This is FWP.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks. FWP, so good I listen weekly. Welcome to Final Wrestling Place.
I'm Tim.
Hey, I'm still Marcus.
Welcome back to another Final Wrestling Place, episode number 268. Yeah, we're inching closer to 300, my guy. We are literally 32 days away, or 32 episodes away. It's days, but they're stretched out. 32 episodes away from the big 300. But very excited you guys can join us. However you've joined us, whether it's on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, your podcatcher of choice, through the soon-to-be-named network at soon-to-be-named-network.tumblr.com, or through our YouTube, youtube.com/@finalwrestlingplace. We appreciate your listenership. Be sure to follow us on social media if you'd like as well, at TNM Shows on Twitter, at Final Wrestling Place on Instagram. And just be sure to ring the bell and subscribe if you haven't already on the YouTube, if you are a connoisseur of those sort of things. This week, we are AEW heavy. Heavy. So much to talk about between Dynamite and All Out. Of course, we're also going to talk some weekly purchases, perhaps. We're going to talk about just an assortment, a variety of things. But Marcus,
who knows?
I know. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. We made it to opening weekend for the NFL.
Yes.
Had a wonderful day. Just watching football. Little couch nap. You know what I'm saying? You know what's up.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, to follow my accurate prediction, as you can hear on the latest edition of Sports Talk on the At Odds Patreon that we did along with our fellow brother, Brett, where we broke down at great length and detail this upcoming NFL season, all-encompassing 32-team outlook on the season. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, it's there. The Chiefs is the Chiefs, baby. I don't care what the Ravens do, who they bring in. Oh, bringing in a 30-year-old running back. You thought that was going to push you over the edge? You got an offensive coordinator that likes to throw the ball, and you all think, oh, you know what? Let's run it instead. It's all cute. It's all real cute. It probably works great on Madden. But this is real life. This is the NFL. And as long as they play the games on fields, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in existence. And unless he feels like losing, he ain't losing.
Brother.
Every once in a while, he'll lose just to feel alive.
I'm just going to let you know right now.
You
lost because Isaiah Likely made a bad gear choice.
Excuse me. No, we did not lose. The game would have been tied at best. Don't let the revisionist history of the media.
I thought you were down by. I thought you were up by not more than a touchdown.
We were up by 7.
Okay.
So the 2-point conversion is not a given.
Right.
And at best, it would have been tied.
Okay.
And the way Justin Tucker's been kicking, that is not a guarantee either.
I'd want you to refrain from anything you have bad to say about Justin Tucker from now until the remainder of the show. But yeah, man, it was a fun opening night of football. A not so fun second night of football, because boy, that Brazil game was not good.
Dare say booty?
Yeah, BBL football. It's not great. It was, Brazil's nice. Brazil's beautiful. But not for American football. Whether it's the field or whatever else it is, that's neither here nor there. What about Notre Dame paying $1.4 million to a team to go and beat their doors off in in South Bend? That was nice. And I immediately now no longer want to care about college football. I'm done. I'm out of the college football game. I thought this year was going to be it for me. And then when Notre Dame loses in the first game to a team, the only reason I know of this team is because I play College Football 25 on the PS5. Yeah, man, it's just all is lost. Commanders suck. Can't wait. We're not worse than the Giants. We're not worse than the Panthers. Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
I think you're better than Browns.
No.
Okay.
Dog, if they get rid of Deshaun Watson and find a way to call back Joe Flacco, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. It's so over, man. They got it. But football's neither here nor there. How did the family take your return back to solitude on Football Sunday?
It was a little give and take, but overall it went pretty well. It's never the first or second one. It's kind of like once we're like 5 or 6 weeks in, and it's kind of like this is every Sunday, huh? And the answer to that is yes.
Until February. Yep. Until Kendrick Lamar officially buries Drake publicly during the Super Bowl halftime show. That's how long it's going to be. But yeah, man, good. It was a good week, good weekend. Opportunities hit. Salute to us in the opportunity business. It was very good, very fun, very nice.
You especially.
Yeah, man.
You had a great weekend.
I did, considering I was spending free money. Finally signed up for DraftKings, and of course, you make a $5. Your initial $5 bet earns you $250 in free bets. So I'm just out here betting with my heart with all this free money. And what do you know, man? The Lord provides, and just he gives back to those who are willing to go out on the limb, to go out and reach the hard to reach fruit. You gotta go. You gotta grab it. If you don't you can't get it.
I hit a nice one. What was the odds on yours?
So I had it was a plus 330.
All right, nice. That's a healthy hit. That's really good. Congratulations. So proud of my guy.
Yeah, a plus 330, a plus 180, and a plus 110 that hit today. All plus money today. All plus money, yeah. So that was good, fun, exciting. Use the opportunities line in the Discord if you maybe want to win money. I don't know. If you just ask the Schwab or you ask the Swami, or what was the name of the booker? Who was the bookie that was on ESPN a long time ago? Jimmy the Greek?
Yeah.
Marky the Greek over here coming out. Give you a line on the socks. It'll be fun. I'm excited. Football season. I
had a nice one for what was plus 525, I think, or something like that. Hit a nice big parlay.
Another mortgage payment coming up.
The mortgage payment, nice boost on the Cowboys money line as underdogs against Cleveland. Are you kidding me?
That was that was easy money. How were they plus odds?
Well, Cleveland had such a good defense last year. I think it was a little bit overrated coming into this season. That's what I'm thinking. I think that's a team that takes a couple weeks to get going, but I think week one, they weren't ready. They weren't ready for what they had.
Yeah, and between Deshaun Watson's dad passing away and Deshaun Watson being a sucky quarterback, just not overall very good and conducive to a positive winning environment there in Cleveland. Sorry, Cleveland fans. You guys suck. But so do I. My team sucks out loud. Can't wait. We got our doors blown off by 30 by Baker Mayfield.
Dude, I'm telling you, they're a good team, and he's a good quarterback.
I wonder if I can find what the original line was on this game.
I'm going to guess it was -5.5.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to find that now. I'm not sure, because I don't think you can go back and look at retroactive games from everything. What was the line on the Buccaneers Commanders game? Here we go. Per CBS Sports, 10 hours ago.
3.5.
Yeah, it was a 3.5 line. The Commanders were plus 181. Okay, so 3.5 points was the differential that they were giving. And the Buccaneers just said, hold on, you misplaced the decimal. And they just swung that mother effer to the other side of the 5. And if the line was -35, you would have hit. But it wasn't. Patooey. If you bet the over-under, you're in. Over-under was 42.5. Because the Buccaneers pretty much scored 42 by themselves. So who cares? Enough.
I'm glad you're going to be betting this season. I'm looking forward to it.
No more banter. I'm done. I'm done with banter. This sucks. It hurts my feelings. I hate everything. I
little opportunities corner.
Sure.
Opportunities corner. All right.
Sure. No more banter today. Because we do have other like real life conversation pieces to talk about.
I'm gonna give my favorite bet for next week.
Right now, go ahead.
Before we're done. Hold on, let me pull up the spread. You go ahead.
Okay.
Let me pull up next week's lines.
Well, literally the next thing we go into is a conversation between the two of us about blind rankings. So we don't really have time to dig up your
All right,
your
well,
mess.
hold on. All right. Well, I want to help people win money. So let's take a look here
I'm
at
taking a look
next
right now.
week's NFL lines.
Oh, easy. Right now.
I'll give you one for Monday Night Football.
Here we go.
The 49ers -3.5 at home to a Jets team where Aaron Rodgers didn't really play in the preseason. They rested a lot of their people. They think that they are good based off of absolutely nothing. That one, the 49ers are going to blow their doors off. It's going to be insane. I would take an alternate spread to like 10, 14. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be close. I know CMC's banged up. I don't think it matters. 49ers are going to dog walk the Jets. What picked out? What stuck out to you?
So just so you know, if you bet on if you're on FanDuel, it's 3.5. If you're on DraftKings, it's actually the line set at 4. But even then, still take an alternate spread. On DraftKings right now, you can bet on the 49ers to win by 7 to 12 points for plus 390.
Well, yeah, I would just take an alternate spread. That way, if they win by more, you don't lose that bet.
Right. I mean, you're still good. I don't see where I guess I'm just not very astute in the DraftKings world. I don't know if DraftKings has alternate lines available.
They do, yeah. They have alternate lines available.
I just don't know where it is. So either way,
spread.
It's under spread.
Yeah.
I was looking for spread and I don't see spread.
Okay.
Maybe it's the difference between I think it may be the difference between Pennsylvania and Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Because there's sometimes where like you've told me like, hey, bet on this, and I pull up my app, and because I'm in a different state, I'm like, I can't bet on that because that doesn't exist here. Yeah, they don't. I guess we can't regulate sports betting. We can just make it available and then let each state decide. Nah, man, not cool. So
betting pod, I'm in. All right.
We'll talk at episode 300, okay, Marcus?
All right.
Pencil in episode 300 for our discussion.
Oh my gosh, the Colts are -3 against the Packers, and Jordan Love's probably not going to play. Let me lock that in right now.
Oh, what? For next week?
For next week? This is free money. What are you talking about? Oh, man. I'm going to get 2 units on it right now. Not even playing. Not even playing with you. I think I'm playing.
The Colts are -3.
Oh, yeah, -3 against the Packers. Yeah, on the road. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, laying the 3. Oh, Commanders and Giants next week? That's going to be a slop fest.
And the Commanders are the favorites. I don't think the line shouldn't be 2.5. I don't think.
Well, y'all are getting disrespected because the line is always 3 for a home game. So Vegas thinks the Giants might win that game.
It's gonna be the on-field fight between DJ's team that he loves to hate and my team that I love to hate. So it'll be fun. I'm excited. But let's move along from the betting corner. You've made your picks. Make your Monday Night Football suggestions or your opportunities, and may your opportunities be ever in your favor, but never against us. I guess it's time for some blind rankings. And Marcus, I know that you like to be a giver, so I'm going to let you give first. Because I have the most super topical blind rankings that ever existed in my hand right now.
All right. Well, then I will give to you first, sir. And I present to you your blind rankings topic, which is I want you to blind rank these wrestlers with tattoos.
Okay. Okay. When you wrote this down, were you basing this based off of like the quality of tattoos or the quality of the wrestler?
I was more so thinking like if I were just to name wrestlers with a lot of tattoos, then who is it?
Oh, so I'm playing like Family Feud style. Like top 5 answers on the board. Name me a wrestler with tattoos. And I have to.
But now it's up to you how you want to rank them. Do you want to rank them by skill and ability? You want to rank them by tattoos?
I'm not. Look, I don't think that either of us are qualified to answer any questions about the quality of tattoos, as we are both blank canvases. Even though I think I figured out what tattoos I want to get for the in memoriam for some people in my life. So I finally figured it out after watching Rhea Ripley's Behind the Ink, Tat Ink. I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. I don't know what the episode's called, but seeing her display all her tattoos. But I'm prolonging the conversation. Go ahead. Number 1.
Your first name, Perry Saturn.
Oh, I always thought Perry Saturn's tattoos were just like junky and clunky. He just had so many of them, and he just got more as he went along. And 4.
Okay. Next up for you, the Viper, Randy Orton.
Randy Orton's tattoos so good that the tattoo artist sued the WWE video game for putting their art in the game. So I'm gonna put Randy at 2. For no other reason than I think there might be another person with cool tattoos, but Viper Man number 2.
All right. Next up, the boss, Raven.
Okay, so this is going to be blasphemy. I don't think his Raven is a tattoo guy.
Even with the big the belly one and the chest and the leg and the.
Because to me, like, I blank out TNA Raven and WWF Raven. To me, my Raven wore grunge band t-shirts and like ratty jean shorts. He didn't wear kilts and like go that way. So by proxy, I'm putting him at 5.
All right. Man, the boss, Raven. Next up for you, Mr. Undertaker.
Oh, okay. Like, this guy had like, yeah. Even with the questionable, I put my wife's name on my throat.
Ex-wife.
I mean, they weren't ex-wives when he got the ink done. But I will say the ink wasn't even dry before they got a divorce. So, you know what? I'm gonna be a Mark from Texas homer. I'm going number 1.
All right, which means number 3 for you is Hakushi.
Oh man. I believe somebody in the WWF said that his tattoos were the Chinese menu. I feel like that was something racist that was said on WWF commentary in the early 90s.
Definitely had to be racist because he was Japanese, the Japanese kamikaze.
Yes.
Which is the modern day kamikaze
racist.
Or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know what he was, but Jinsei Shinsaki is the man all day, every day. So let's recap
order? Your number 5, man, the boss, Raven. Number 4, Saturn. Number 3, Hakushi. Number 2, the Viper, Randy Orton. And number 1, Mr. Undertaker, Mark from Texas.
If I could take it back, I'd flip Perry, Saturn, and Raven, but everything else to me is solid.
All right.
Everything else to me is
solid. What you got for me, Mr. Tim?
So I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone. There is no undertaking this week because I decided to upgrade my level of brain rot.
Uh-oh.
Marcus, I watched the 1 hour and 21-minute episode of Impulsive with your friend and mine, Bad Terry.
Not my friend.
Yeah, your friend. You know, the guy who everybody, a lot of people have forgiven him for a lot of the bad things, much like people have forgiven Chris Benoit for what he did. I can't believe he actually said that into a microphone. But to put things into perspective, this episode was recorded 6 days after Bad Terry went on the RNC floor and ripped his shirt off and weaponized the phrase real American for Donald Trump, dude. So Logan Paul is still the United States champion in this video that they just released. But I am going to ask you to rank 5 of the lies that Bad Terry told on the episode of Impulsive.
Oh, man. A dream come true.
Yes. You already know one of them because it is the big one that is going out and across the galaxy of the biggest lie I think he's ever told, point blank verbatim. Or have you missed it?
I've probably missed it. I haven't seen a lot of that.
We've literally, I think it's been discussed on both of the other wrestling shows on the network. But we will go. Number 1. Right. Hulk Hogan claims he was a, quote, medium-sized guy in the WWF during his first run. Not the first run, but Hulkamania.
That's the first run.
He was, quote, a medium-sized guy.
You know, because Bad Terry is actually like 6'4".
He said he was 6'7" multiple times on the show. He's 6'4" now, apparently.
No,
but he was
he's
6'7"
like
then.
now. No, he was never 6'7". That's what makes this a bad lie. I'll go with 5.
Okay. Cool. We're going the right way. Next up, Bad Terry stated that when he was fired from the WWF in his first run, he started a promotion in Minnesota. And I think he means the AWA. I can't make this up. I wrote it down in my diary. It was a very funny joke. So Marcus, Bad Terry started a promotion in Minnesota before going back to the WWF in 83, 82.
Oh man.
He's crying, everybody. I'm actually watching my best friend weep in happiness. You would think Pat Mahomes just won his 9th straight Super Bowl.
Oh man, I don't want to
don't blow your load too early, but this is bad.
I'm gonna go 2.
2. That's a good one. That's a solid 2. That's a solid 2.
1 because he wasn't fired.
He claimed so his story about it was that he was working for Vince Sr., brother, and Vince Sr. got mad that he was going to do Rocky, and
Correct.
Vince Sr. said, "You'll never work in this town again."
Or you could not do Rocky.
Or you could not do Rocky. Yes. Number 3. Hulk Hogan claims that he was doing, quote, reality television and bad kids movies, unquote, when he met Donald Trump. I will repeat this. When he met Donald Trump, Hulk Hogan was in the midst of reality television and bad kids movies.
I like that he has taken 2 completely different eras of the bad movies and the reality television and merged them together into one. Even though there's like 15 years between them.
Absolutely 15 years between.
Oh man. And then the timeline of him meeting Donald Trump is like before he made any bad movies.
Correct. Because Rocky,
or the bad movie
was
come
good.
Out. The bad movie hadn't come out yet. Being No Holds Barred, which not
match the movie.
That's bad. Oh man. I'm gonna go 4 just because that one is easily fact checkable, and at 3 different points, none of it lines up.
Okay. Here's the newest lie the next 2 are brand new lies to me. Number 4. Apparently, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash did not know Hulk Hogan was the third man until he walked the ramp at Bash at the Beach. In the episode, he said, quote, I talked to Eric Bischoff, dude, and I told him, I was like, you're doing this third man thing. He's like, yeah, I think we're going to go with Sting. And Hulk says, Sting wasn't WWF, brother. I was WWF through and through. I'll be the third man. And then Bischoff goes, are you sure? And Hulk's like, yeah, but you can't tell anybody. So much so, quote, that Hulk stayed in a hotel across the street from the venue and did not arrive at the venue until the main event went to the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric Bischoff had Sting on standby because he thought Hulk wouldn't go through with it.
Not that Sting wasn't in the match.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So the lie is Hall and Nash did not know that Hulk was the third man until Hulk walked the aisle at Bash at the Beach 96.
Oh, man. The next one's got to be really good because I'm going to give this one a 3.
Okay.
Again, because it's easily fact checkable because while Scott Hall is no longer with us, Kevin Nash still is. Does Hogan know that?
Yeah. He did tell multiple stories about dead people, where he said that both Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff refused to job to him. And he said that during WrestleMania 7, before the match at WrestleMania 7 or 18, he had a warm-up match with Rikishi, and Rikishi broke his ribs, and then Vince told Hulk to fly to Miami to meet with The Rock to rehearse the match that they were going to have at WrestleMania 18, and that Rocky Johnson and Pat Patterson were there. And Rocky Johnson told his son to listen to Hulk Hogan because he knows what he's doing. Like, did Hulk give the properties of match planning from Randy to Rock? So he told 2 stories that are not fact checkable by a lot of people. But yeah, so great stuff all around. But Marcus, are you ready for the 5th and final lie that Bad
I'm ready
Terry
for the
told?
5th, final, and overall number 1 lie of Bad Terry.
Bad Terry states that he
On Impulsive.
never used his creative control in WCW.
I'm sorry, he what?
Hulk Hogan states that he had creative control in WCW, but never used it. Not once. That doesn't work for me, brother. He said the line in the podcast. Before he says I had creative control and I never used it, he actually says the line, well, that's not going to work for me, brother.
So
He did the thing.
while WCW might be dead, he knows there's like plenty of people still alive, right?
Yeah. Number 1 biggest lie Bad Terry ever told on Impulsive was he never used his creative control in WCW. Not once.
Never.
So your 5 Hogan lies in order from worst to best was number 5. Hulk Hogan was a medium-sized guy in the WWF. Number 4, he was doing reality TV and bad kids movies when he met Donald Trump. Number 3, Hall and Nash didn't know that Hulk was the third man at Bash at the Beach until he walked the aisle. Number 2, after being let go from the WWF the first time, he started his own wrestling promotion in Minnesota. And number 1, he never used his creative control in WCW.
That'll do it.
The brain rot is so real with me right now. Like, I have to work it out. Like, in the Discord, in the YouTube comments, on social media at TNM shows, how can I cleanse myself from this brain rot? What can I watch to remove this brain rot from me? Or am I just stuck with it for the rest of my life?
Well, Tim, I don't know. But you could go back and rewatch the latest pay-per-view from this weekend, AEW All Out 2024.
So that was the problem, is I watched All Out before I watched Impulsive. So I was woosah'd through All Out. And then I watched Impulsive after my nap. which was not the best thing for me, conducively as a human being. Not the best decision I've ever made. But also, I'm the guy who decides to watch the Undertaker podcast every week and then do a tight 7 minutes on it on my weekly episodic podcast. But yes, AEW did have a pay-per-view. I was not able to watch it live because I was on assignment for Three Legacies Wrestling. But I did reach out to my local cable provider today, and I asked them if they could re-air the pay-per-view for me today. And it's crazy. The customer service guy I was on the phone with, he said his name was Randy. He said, quote, "Do you deserve it?" And I said, yes. And then he turned the box on for me, but he called me a mark first. So, it is what it is. I got to watch it. Everything's great. It's time for viewer's choice.
Oh boy.
I know. We'll give you the must watch, the must skip, and the MVP of the festivities at All Out. And right off the bat, All Out did it again, I think. Last year, All Out, I think, exceeded expectations and maybe trumped All In. And I think this year, too, it's close. I think All In was a lot better this year than last year. But All Out was, with the exception of like one match, I think everything hit.
Yeah, before we jump in, I think one thing that really could hurt the show, but I think in back-to-back years it's helped the show, is unlike All In, which is this long built-up pay-per-view, this mega show, this super show, when you have a long build-up, sure, a lot of things can go right, but a lot of things can go wrong too. Run out of ideas, people maybe change creative, whatever the case may be. With the 2-week build, you've already done a lot of the build up in your previous storytelling. Like Swerve Hangman didn't need a lot. We end up getting more, but it didn't need a lot to build up. Willow Statlander didn't need a lot. Garcia and MJF didn't need a lot. Had already been built up too. So that also means you don't have a lot of room for anything to get messed up. If you just have a 2-week build and you nail your 2 weeks, it's a very focused match. It's a focused show. It's focused storylines. And there is no room for people to alter the creative or take things off course or make changes. So yeah, I think that has worked to All In's benefit, All Out's benefit. And I really enjoyed the show. How'd you like the show overall before we dive into it?
I thought it was very, very good. I enjoyed my time with All Out extremely well. I avoided most of the spoilers, I think. I didn't avoid the big one, which we will talk about. And if you saw the show image, you know what I'm talking about. But even then, it was awesome. With the exception of like a couple of nits to pick here or there, all in all, man, I thought All Out was a fantastic experience. And if it stays two weeks after All In, I think it makes to be a really great show and do what Backlash doesn't do for WrestleMania.
Correct.
Because All In to me is the pageantry, it's the spectacle, it's WrestleMania. Wembley moments, Dallas moments. You're having your moments. You got to go to prom, right? It's all there.
Need a date. Don't care who.
All Out is the All Out wrestling blood feud show. Like, blow off everything that is sour in this card.
People get mad. People getting even.
People been mad. People are going to take it all out on their opponent there in whatever city they decide to be in, whether they're in Chicago or they're somewhere else. I also thought it was really cool. One of my favorite YouTube creators, King of the Fourth Quarter, Kenny Beecham, KOT4Q. He's been on a bunch of stuff for the NBA on TNT. He was there front row, and I caught him during the second match, but he was tweeting during the first match. So I thought that was really cool. Cool for Kenny Beecham. Cool all the way around. I'm happy for that. I like it when my worlds cross over. It's not like it's speed. Like I don't know who I shows. I know who I show speed is now, but I didn't then when we were informed by an 8-year-old at WrestleMania.
It's not your Dabbleverse, is it?
It is not my Dabbleverse. It is not. It's not my Whack Pack. It's not my circus, and it's not my monkey. So we move along. But Marcus, what is the first thing that you want to talk about that's either must watch or must skip?
All right. First thing I'm gonna give a must watch to Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale.
Heck yeah,
the Chicago street fight. They went 15 minutes on the nose. I knew this was going to be good, so I already had like a high bar, and they exceeded that 100% by leaps and bounds. And to follow what they followed, is a testament to them.
They went on after Pac Osprey, right?
Sure did.
Okay.
There have been people reaching to try to explain away maybe why other matches with Sasha and Mercedes and Britt Baker, for instance, were not as good, having to follow MJF and Osprey back at Wembley. These two had no problem.
No, not at all.
And to that, there wasn't a drop off.
No.
It continued the momentum of the show. Keep giving Willow Nightingale the ball. Keep giving Chris Statlander the ball. Because these two have been running with it. And there's been instances where they've been put on pre-shows where it's like, feels like main card stuff. I really like these two together, and bummed that the feud seems to be over for now. It's run its course. I love the decision to have Statlander win this one. Feel like she would have been a little dead in the water with a loss. So win keeps her positive momentum going. Willow has a conglomeration. We have two heels as our women's champions. So there's always going to be a chance to heat up a babyface, and Willow needs like 2 seconds in the microwave. She's pretty made eternally now. So, this was the goods. This was good stuff, and to have a street fight with the big lights out cage match to come and all the brutality that we knew that was going to entail, they were able to do a different match. And I thought that was huge, and a true testament to them, the professionals they are. So, I could not gush over this match enough. I thought it absolutely rocked. And I think at the end of everything, it's probably my favorite match of the night.
Really
like this one a lot. Yeah, I really like this one a lot.
Wow.
So that gets the big must watch for me out of the gate.
I'm not gonna talk that down at all. For sure. Like it's a fantastic street fight. Willow is really good at this. Stat's really good at it. Stoke played his part to perfection too.
Absolutely.
I'll never say a bad thing about it. I thought this was for the CMLL women's title. But I guess it was not, and that's okay. I don't think it matters either way if it was or was not. But I am curious. You make a point about the women's division with it being two bad guys on top, right? With Mariah and with Mercedes, and with Statlander being the one to come out on top of this. It's very interesting to think on which way she's going to go, because the women's roster, I don't know who else is around that's worth the time that isn't a downgrade from Willow, except for the two women who hold the titles and maybe Hikaru Shida. Which, if you want to give me Stat Shida, sign me the H up.
Yeah.
I'm here for that.
I don't know how long Statlander is going to be a true heel.
Right. That's
like,
true.
I think that package with her and Stoke is going to be too entertaining.
Right.
And she's so tough and big and impressive that, like, she's going to start getting cheers again pretty soon, I think.
Well, don't
as
you
long
know
as she's
that
not up against Willow.
Heels and faces don't exist anymore.
That's right. They don't exist in AEW. That's
right.
My bad.
Right. So, but even then, like, I think just one multi-person match to determine a number one contender. I'd actually like to see Stat versus Mariah overseeing Stat versus Mercedes.
That would be good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Even though I think Mariah might have her dance card starting to get filled already, I think her first challenger is probably going to be Queen Aminata.
Okay.
In reaction to the little piece of business they did on the pre-show with Sky Blue and her. But Mariah May is champ. Fantastic. Her and Stat would be 12 stars anywhere. I think it would definitely be on the top of a specific section of the soon to be named network Discord. That may also be named after a country in Europe. Kind of. But either way, man, fantastic stuff. Good to see that, like, really good women's wrestling exists in AEW. Because sometimes I get confused and I forget that good women's wrestling exists. Let's just talk about it now. I'm usually not in the business of not going over a not must watch or must skip match, because I don't think that the TBS championship match is must skip. I don't think it's must skip, but it's absolutely not must watch. And I had multiple people telling me, trusted advisors, that, quote, it's all Britt's fault. Everything falls on Britt from the match at All Out or All In. No, brother, it don't. Nah, man. Now, I will give credit where credit is due. The first, 7-8 minutes of the match, I enjoyed. I really did. I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was fantastic. But then you lose me with weird convoluted Irish whip spots and Mercedes playing with her hair the whole second half of the match, and then making Hikaru Shida's finish look like a headlock takeover. And then trying to sell me the bill of goods known as your finisher. I can't with Mercedes. I understand she has fantastic matches that aren't on TV and that play well to a live crowd. And I'm so happy that the CEO dance has taken many arenas by storm. Unfortunately, it's not burning down my door. It's not burning down my house. It's not doing any of that. It's just chapping my ass how many people are sorry.
It's hot.
Had to fly, the fur fly for a second. it just grinds my gears that like we're still thinking that Mercedes Moné is a thing in 2024. I'm not as hard on, I'm not as hard pressed to be completely anti Mercedes like you are. But
Anti. That's the rep I have.
Brother.
I don't know if that's fair.
That's
a little uncalled for.
Brother man Bill.
That's a little uncalled for.
I don't think I've ever heard you say a positive word about her wrestling in 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, perhaps. The TV ain't gonna save you over there, Chief. I'm over here.
Well,
don't hit me with that Sheed Wallace. Both teams tried hard. Don't try to hit me with that. Both teams played hard.
I mean, if you ignore the strikes that miss by a mile, the moves with no snap, really odd timing on like kickouts and just on moves in general, move execution, selling. If you ignore all that stuff, this might be the match for you.
Yeah, it's not for me. Sheeta deserved better. Sheeta tried her best. Like Sheeta brought it. But unfortunately, I don't think the other side of the ring brought it as well. I will wash my mouth out of that with something that is must watch. And that is MJF and Daniel Garcia.
Okay. All right. I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
I liked it because I liked it for things that didn't take place in the ring or that weren't necessarily match related. I think, or not match related, but not like bell to bell, right? Mm-hmm. I loved the hot start from Danny. I loved Daddy Magic on commentary.
Yes.
For the entirety of the match. I loved the fire that Danny Garcia wrestled with. And I feel like we got a return to form of like the closest we'll get to like the best version of MJF in this match.
Okay.
I don't recall him doing a lot of like BS crowd work. I don't remember, like, the match was really good. And I do like the finish of, MJF, as good of a wrestler as he is, he's still going to just kick you in the junk and pin you real nice and easy. 1, 2, 3. But I love that Danny got his pound of flesh back. In spades. I love that he got it back. And if this sends MJF off TV for a couple of months, cool. Great.
Mm-hmm. This seems to be the hot rumor.
That does seem to be the hot rumor. I would also expect it too, because he did the same thing to Danny Garcia, and Danny Garcia was off TV for about a month. So
yeah,
if MJF doesn't have anything else going on besides Danny Garcia, let Danny Garcia get hot, get warmed up close to a title opportunity, whether it's the TNT title or Okada in the Continental title, or even Ospreay in the International title, which would make sense too. And MJF snatch that victory from Danny. Like, let Danny get on a roll, get close to title contention, and then even in like a number one contenders match, or like an eliminator match, or even if he makes it to a title match, MJF takes it from him and we get a bigger build off at like bigger blow off at like World's End. I'm cool with that.
Okay.
I'm absolutely here for that, because looking back at the rest of the AEW or AEW pay-per-view year, there's Wrestle Dream in October.
Full Gear is the big one.
There's Full Gear in November and World's End in December.
Yeah. So probably Full Gear.
And here's the thing. I don't even know if we're doing World's End anymore because we've got Wrestle Dynasty on January 5th. The big super show with AEW, New Japan, CMLL, Ring of Honor.
There is World's End. It's in Orlando.
Okay. So then there is still World's End.
Yeah.
You could think that Danny Garcia has rid himself of the demons known as MJF. And then you do some sort of match at World's End to blow them off, right? Because I do think there's still meat on the bone for it, because this is really their first match in the series.
Right.
Maybe you run it at Full Gear and then run it again at Wrestle Dynasty in Japan. I don't know how that would work. I feel like Wrestle Dynasty is going to be.
This feels done at Full Gear to me.
Full Gear, that makes sense too. Like I just thought World's End because like it plays into the name of the show. Like end of the year, end of the world, end of this feud, blow it off. But Full Gear totally makes sense to me. But I just like it. It gives Red Death a meaning now. Like Garcia definitely has a inflated an inflated sense of purpose in AEW now. Even in a loss, he wins.
Yeah.
And he's not a slouch and he's not a pushover. He's somebody who can say what he was going to do. He was going to return the favor on MJF and he did it. So I really enjoyed it as being an opener. And just everything for me clicked on the match. I don't know. I think because MJF kept it simple, stupid, and didn't overthink it. And he just wrestled Danny Garcia, who's really good at this wrestling thing for being so young. Do you have similar thoughts, or is it just a match for you?
Going into it, it was just a match for me, but once the bell rang and you had everything that you talked about, Daddy Magic on commentary, yada yada, it all clicked. And I think MJF, with all that they've invested in him, I feel like at this point, MJF with a personal issue, no titles involved, is probably like the perfect guy to either help bring up new characters to help get them established at like a different level, or if you have a main eventer that's out of the main event picture, pair them together in something not related to the title.
Right.
So this felt like perfect use of MJF. This was giving Danny Garcia some meat on the bone, something to chew on creatively, which is definitely what he needs. Because when you give him that, the people are into him. He has a connection with the crowd. He just needs more storyline, more purpose. Going out there and wrestling for 15 minutes, yeah, cool, great, whatever. Historically, that's not what sells tickets. That's not what makes it so that when you're done wrestling, you never have to work another day in your life. I really like this match.
Right.
I mean, it was what it should have been, and it was focused. That's a big thing. This was focused. This had the 2-week build. All the story had been done really ahead of time with the pile driver. So it was just about Danny Garcia getting back, and he got his back. So mission accomplished.
Right.
I don't know if I'm going to say must watch, but this was really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
I can see that. It's different tastes for us. Like I think it's must watch. Especially if you're really high on Danny Garcia.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're really high on Danny Garcia, or if you're on the fence about Danny Garcia, watch this match. It will push you over the edge.
Yeah.
You'll be there. What else do you want to talk about?
I'm going to give a must watch to a match that you might not think is my cup of tea, dude. But in fact, it is my cup of tea. Will Ospreay and Peck, I thought, was incredible.
So here's what sucks for me. Okay. Yes, this is must watch. Yes, this is a great match. I'm gonna sound crazy saying this, but I've said crazier things on this podcast. Will Ospreay's bar is so high that I expect a match like this out of him every time. So this, unfortunately, is not special because it does not exceed the bar that he has set ridiculously high. Like if everything he does is a 99 and you give me like a 98, it's still great. But
okay, see, that's where we differ because I think this was 105.
See, I don't think it's 105.
I absolutely love this, and that's because yes, contrary to what you might hear on We Need Wrestling or At Odds
or Final Wrestling Place. Like you forget you have a show where you said it.
I don't like tiny wrestlers.
He clipped it from this show. What do you want? What do you mean?
Those words were used against me out of context. Because Pac is not tiny. Pac is not tiny. He is not small. That dude is awesome. I love his work. And I thought him and Ospreay, despite me not liking this, I thought it was peanut butter and jelly.
I do like
these two just go together.
I didn't say I didn't like it.
Okay. I understand what you're saying.
Right.
I understand it. I'm saying to me, it exceeded even what I was expecting. And I think what I really like is the clear, like, heel face dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm less exhibition-y, which is what I feel like is going to happen with Ricochet and Ospreay.
I don't know,
Although, there's some hope.
Ospreay's a different animal right now.
Ricochet speaking with some bass in his voice backstage. All right, let's go. We'll see. But for this is a must-watch for me.
Yeah.
This rocked. I felt alive.
It is definitely in the realm of greater than very good. Like, it is... If any other two wrestlers would have put this match on, it is must-watch 10 times out of 10. But I just hold Will on such a pedestal now because he's put himself there, right? And Pac too. Pac is sneakily one of the best wrestlers on the AEW roster. I think he doesn't get enough credit for being that type of
I agree
wrestler.
with that. I agree with that.
You want to know what I think that might have to do with? The fact that his television time has been very start and stop. Like, he's run hot and then he's off TV for like 3 months. And then he comes back and he runs hot and then he's off again for like 4 months.
Well, what also doesn't help is like when he wins a title match to be on a pay-per-view and then somebody else is like, oh no, I want that spot instead. And then they're just like, okay, never mind Pac's title match then. That doesn't help either.
Right.
Like he's been in spots where he's supposed to be elevated and then for one reason or another, it's, oh no, we're going to go with this guy instead.
True. And now it's kind of, we're especially with things that have transpired on All Out beyond the match with him and Will Ospreay. I think Pac now more than ever has a sense of purpose. He has a motivation. He has a drive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough to say that like 2 top 5 guys in a promotion for me isn't must watch. I don't want to, let me rephrase. I'll march it back a little bit. It is must watch, but it did not meet my expectations for the match. But it is because my expectations of the match were so unrealistically high that the only way it could have been better is if like Damian Priest cashed in the Money in the Bank contract.
Oh, now we're
I'm
cooking.
kidding. I'm being facetious, right? But it has like I had put so much bar on it that it's like you have to give me something I didn't expect. Much like other matches on the card did. They give me something that I wasn't completely expecting. So, do we want to get into the last 2 matches of the night?
Let's get into it.
Okay. Before we do that, the 4-way was awesome for the Continental title. Not must watch, not must skip. It sucks that OC had to eat the fall, but Mark Briscoe is a world champion in Ring of Honor, and you're building Takeshita again. He can't fall. Right? Like, are we as like the soon to be named network contingent and like the wrestling the wrestling universe at large, right? Are we all like forcing a vision into Takeshita? It's like, oh man, they're gonna do something with him again. They cut that promo with Don Callis and him, and Takeshita looks motivated and looks like he's ready to whip butt all across the continental United States and take it over to Japan and whip Okada in Japan. Yeah, like, is that what we're? Are we imprinting that on him, or is that the actual truth?
I feel like we gaslit ourselves because of like how good his matches are, and it's like, oh, he's clearly like a dude, and then on TV it's just like, nah, he's just a regular guy.
He can't be this good and be average.
Yes,
it's not right. It's just not right, Tater.
Is he the new Claudio?
That's not fair because I think this is gonna piss more people off. Even though Takeshita doesn't speak much English, I find Takeshita way more charismatic in the ring than Claudio Castagnoli.
But what I'm saying is
this good wrestler
who's like one of the best in the world,
but not gonna
like
get
every
the
now
respect.
and then we'll get a crumb.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And I wish this was a meritocracy where like you actually being really good at your job meant that you got all of the money and all of the matches and all of the titles. But it isn't for some. Because Takeshita, I think... Ooh, I'm going to... F it. I'm going to say it. Bryan Danielson's the best wrestler in the world, but Konosuke Takeshita is the best wrestler in AEW.
Okay, I see that.
Konosuke Takeshita, for me, is my number 1. I will put everyone under Takeshita. His work in the G1 that you didn't watch but won. He made me care about a match with Jeff Cobb. 2024 Jeff Cobb. Not even like 8 years ago Jeff Cobb. Or 6 years ago. 4 years ago, Jeff Cobb. Like today, Jeff Cobb.
6 years ago.
Yeah, like he made me care. He made me root against Huge Suge. That's my guy. Trademark. You know, but like Takeshita's my dude. He's my number one in AEW. He might be my favorite wrestler, my favorite active wrestler right now in all promotions.
High praise.
If only he had a catchy nickname like American Nightmare. You know, but he doesn't want to catch a lawsuit. So, which match do you think of the final two matches is the juicier match to talk about?
I think the big angle from the world title match is the bigger thing to talk about.
So we're going lights out match first.
Okay.
And in order to do this, we have to Tarantino it a little bit. And we have to go back to Dynamite. And specifically, we have to go back to 6 hours before Dynamite when Swerve buys his family house. Right? This has been covered ad nauseum across We Need Wrestling and At Odds with Wrestling. Please, if you listen to this show and you don't listen to their shows, please subscribe to those podcasts. They're across the same footprint of podcatchers as ours. At Odds with Wrestling, We Need Wrestling. Subscribe to the At Odds with Wrestling Patreon. So they've already covered this. I think that the angle they did on Dynamite with Swerve's family house is the best TV angle I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
I think it's better than Mariah Tony. Even if there was smoke and mirrors, even if there was the possibility of smoke and mirrors or photoshopping or After Effectsing or what have you, the ish looked cool. I showed it to non-wrestling fans and they thought it was cool. The ish was tight. Like, so much so that like I tell people what it is and they're like, but isn't wrestling fake? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. You tell me. Here's the video. And like Hangman, this new side of Hangman just makes my balls tingle. It's amazing. Like
Sounds of Freedom.
Sounds of Freedom. It gives me the tingles in the brain. Like my synapses are popping off and they're firing. I love Hangman Page right now. The justified heel who is just wanting to hurt Swerve the way Swerve hurt him. And that whole angle was just the one camera shot throughout the house, setting it up, propping himself up in the family chair, having a fresh Chianti, lighting the fire, and watching it all burn. It makes Randy Orton setting the Firefly Funhouse. That's a joke, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is a joke. Like, this is really effing cool. And it goes to Swerve, right? Swerve did a ton of heavy lifting on this with the way he reacted in the ring. But what's your thought on the fire?
Great angle. My only critique is that with all the social media, with all the hours of TV, I wish it had been established like the week before.
The house buying?
Yeah.
Yep.
I wish it was, hey, he lost the title. He immediately went to return home, bought the house. Nana bought him the house, whatever, because to commemorate his first title win or his first run.
Right.
Right. There's no place like home.
Or to commemorate his big, you could even go and you can use the line of that, like, Swerve is now the highest paid contracted wrestler in AEW.
Sure. The new contract, right?
The new contract. He's the franchise player of AEW right now. Conditions are perfect. signing, and I used my signing bonus and I bought my family house.
Right.
And just transplant that entire YouTube clip that you did into an on-screen thing on TV the week before. Like, so cool. Now, I knew as soon as I saw the house was something was happening to it.
Yeah.
The minute I saw it, I'm like, well, what are they going to do to it? And like, I was thinking maybe Hangman like bashes in the windows, or he like defaces it and like spray paints it or something. I didn't think he was going to set that jank on fire. A whole fire, Marcus? Crazy. So, we get to the match. And I hate the phrase fight forever. I hate it. But I want these two to be tethered forever. And whenever something's on site, you just fire it up.
It is so refreshing, and I was thinking about this during the match and after the match, that we have an actual rivalry, like actual feud, not one that's been manufactured, not one that has just become one because they always get booked against each other, like Orton and Cena, right?
Right.
07 was off to a great start, and they didn't wrestle that much. But then after that, we get the stretch in
9
to 2010, 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. And that's the one that gets like, you know, way overdone, where they wrestle each other like 100 times.
Right. In every type of
these
match
guys,
you can think of.
Right. But with these guys, it's just so natural. And it's just so cool that, like, oh, we have a rivalry. Unique. Original. I really appreciate that about these guys. This was brutal, dude. We knew it was going to be rough. We knew it was going to be brutal. I liked how, because their roles have reversed a bit, Swerve did the stapling this time of like the family portraits and stuff like that, to Hangman. Swerve pulling the staples out of his chest. That was gnarly, and you could see it like pull the skin. That was gross. You could see Hangman immediately like start to bleed from the staples. Hangman got a huge bruise on the back of his shoulder
From the cinder
early
block?
into the match. No, it was earlier in the match.
Okay.
I don't know if it was like from going into the cage or landing on the apron or something.
Probably.
But like that was rough. And then the cinder block. That cinder block wasn't working.
That was from Cinder Blocks Are Us, baby.
Yeah, the cop killer on the cinder block, and you see the abrasion. Everybody go, ooh. That was more effective than had he landed flush on it.
Right.
And had broken it. Like, it was better that way. Same for when Swerve landed on it. With the power bomb. I guess the only thing left to really talk about is like the finish, which has some people up in arms. If you've never seen anything other than WWE or TNA before, then I get it. A lot of new wrestling fans. So I really appreciate what AEW does, is they will do what WWE will not, what WWE cannot. And this falls into that category. Hangman takes out some needles and sticks it into the cheek of Swerve. And then he hits him with the one really good chair shot right across the dome.
Smashes him.
And that was it. That was the finish. No pin, not a wrestling move. Just an assault.
Him out.
Knocked him out. Cold-blooded. And that's what the finish needed to be. And that's what we got. Now, do I like needles? No. Do I like needle spots? No. But it's less about needles making me feel uncomfortable and more about it always looks super fake because of the level of cooperation it takes. And you can have a guy in the tightest camel clutch or the tightest face lock or whatever, but there is still an apparent level of cooperation it takes to have the mouth open. You're making the big face like, oh, I'm shocked. If somebody can make a different face, if people can find a different way to do it and have it not look contrived or super choreographed, I still don't want to see it, but credit to them. It's just not a spot for me. It's almost to pulling up the ring canvas to expose the boards. It's like the first cousin.
I won't go that far, especially in this match. The needle meant something. It was like the setup to the finish. And Hangman had definitely inflicted enough damage onto Swerve to make Swerve a little groggy enough that like he might have been, because you suspect like he was there, but he maybe wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so like, oh, he's in my mouth. Like, what is he doing? I didn't see him pull the needle out. The one thing I will say, I did notice that Hangman did the injecting motion with the needle too.
Okay.
So it wasn't just a stab. He also injected. So I'm curious if it may come out that like he wins because he drugged Swerve. And like, because remember, he hits him with the needle. Swerve gets up. He's smiling and he's laughing at Hangman. And then he collapses on him.
Okay.
And falls down him. And then he gets up again, just glassy-eyed staring at Hangman. And then Hangman one time for the one time.
Okay. That I didn't take that away. And it's like one of those things where like
it's a weird line. I'm putting that in there. Like
injecting or drugging people.
Right. It's a weird look.
It's a weird look and probably should have never been allowed in wrestling, but it's a part of wrestling because wrestling is like at the bottom of entertainment.
Bad people do wrestling.
Morals. Right. But I thought it was more of trying to push the needle through the cheek.
Oh, he was like using it for momentum.
That's what I thought.
That can also be true, but it could also have been like a local. It could have been an anesthetic. It could have been something like, not like he's roofying him, but like it could have been. I'm a big Dexter fan. It could have been some sort of tranquilizer. It could have been like a really high dose of like Novocaine or some sort of like numbing agent or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a doctor. All I know is there's a ton of people on the internet who are doctors, apparently, who want to poo-poo on Swerve taking an unprotected chair shot from a work chair.
Oh my gosh.
Namely, the coach and Jimmy Corderas.
Whatever. Bad faith actors.
Did you see what the coach said?
Sure didn't.
Do you want me to pull it up or do you not care?
No, I don't care. Anybody who complains about like one chair shot as a finish, meh. Because from somebody who's been in the ring, I would rather take 10 of those than like a forearm strike exchange.
Yeah.
And it was a finish. Come on.
Right.
But yeah, are you ready to talk about the biggin?
Here we go. Yeah, man. This is it. The match itself for the AEW World Championship, fair and middling. Like, Bryan Danielson pulled a really good match out of Jack Perry.
Mm-hmm.
The match reminds me how much I love the snare trap.
Okay.
I think the snare trap is a believable finish. To this day, I love the way it's like a double leg laced STF. Really cool. Love it. It's probably the only thing I love about Jack Perry right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that inspires me is the aftermatch.
Yes.
Even the stuff with Luchasaurus and Jack Perry.
Yeah.
That interests me too. Because I'm like, oh, snap. Like, I love Jurassic Express as much as I could with Luchasaurus. But now, with this version of Jack and this version of Killswitch, Jack needs a big heater. And I don't know if Christian needs the heater anymore. But I love how like that segued into Christian. We finally get more confirmation on the contract from the Casino Gauntlet match. That it's Money in the Bank style.
Yeah.
Which didn't think about until just then. I love that it's not a briefcase, that it's actually like a metal contract binder.
Yeah.
Like a document case. Pretty cool. But we get the patriarchy coming out. And then this like wall in a white t-shirt shows up. I don't know if
that's the wall, brother.
I don't know if you saw it or not. I couldn't recognize. Oh, snap. That's Jon Moxley. He looked so effing huge.
Brother looks great.
Why was he so big?
He looks great.
He looked like Randy Orton levels of CNR.
Oh.
Or CRN. CRN All-Star Jon Moxley. Just yoked. By the way, now that I'm talking about Randy Orton, I must have consumed all of my brain rot things today. I saw a snippet of an interview with working on a Bad Place Hall of Fame resume, Matt Riddle, where he was talking about Randy. And he was like, if I ever went back to the WWE, I'd like to go back and reunite Rated RKO with Randy, maybe save his back a little bit. And he goes, and then they were like, man, Randy Orton looks great. And he goes, yeah, man, Randy Orton's nutritionist doing great things. I don't want to say too much. Don't want to get the brother in trouble. Riddle, man, stop. Shut
what
up.
Is understood doesn't need to be spoken.
Riddle, nutritionist, chicken, rice, Nutella.
Chicken, rice, Nutella.
The three most gains getting letters in all of professional wrestling. Somebody good with social media or somebody good with graphic design needs to make a CRN logo in the RKO snake font for like the three most dangerous letters in professional wrestling. CRN, the three most gaining letters in all of wrestling. But so Mox shows up, and I firmly believe Mox could have washed the entire patriarchy right there by himself. No questions asked.
Okay. Before we go any farther,
go ahead.
That is partly why I've been so against the Who aspect of the intrigue of this angle
Right.
from the jump. And I know wrestling fans were predisposed to and been brainwashed about these angles where the who is the primary and not the what and the why.
Right.
Jon Moxley looking like he's looking, carrying himself like he's been carrying himself. I had no doubts that he could have washed the whole patriarchy, Luchasaurus, Nick Wayne, Christian, the Contract, and Mama Wayne if she stepped. I had not a doubt. So then you add the backup.
Claudio, who got the memo of what the new uniform is.
Mm-hmm.
White tees. We're here looking yoked. What size shirt do you wear? Make it a size smaller. Come on in. Okay. Claudio looked huge. And we also get Utes and we get Pac. And Bryan Danielson's just sitting in the middle of the ring with a S-eating grin. Like, yo, Calvary's here. Christian, you going to have to do a little bit better than that, bud.
Mm-hmm.
You going to have to try a little harder than that.
It was like the family was all reunited finally.
Right. Which I think this might be the first time that all the members of the BCC had been seen together.
In quite some time, yes.
Because Mox had been gone. Danielson was doing this thing. He was helping out Yuta, but I don't recall Claudio being included with that. And Pac's the latest stray to get brought into the fold. They just found the little scamp on the side of the road and was like, oh, he's so cute. Let's wash him off and feed him breakfast. So the patriarchy backs off. He who fights and runs away lives to fight another day. Christian exit stage left. And then in comes the BCC. Mox first. Mox gets Danielson up. Big hug. Kiss on the forehead. Lots of embracing. Words of encouragement. He read his daily bread. He was giving him a little message. Giving him a little sermon on the mount, little what you call it. And then we kind of get the curtain call layout, right?
All right, so pause here.
Pausing.
Well, you knew something was coming, but when you watched it, if you were putting yourself in live time, did you feel
No.
This is
not
because
at all.
Watching it in real time, I'm kind of like, I feel like something's up, but you know what? Maybe nothing's up. Okay. We got the squad together.
Here's why I don't think anything was happening. Because effectively, this was the end of the show. Lights Out is a non-sanctioned match. The end of the show, proper, all out, is this. It is the go home, final shot, BCC running wild, daddy. Everybody's hands up. It's Bryan Danielson's company moving forward. He's the champ. The BCC lined up. Everybody, like the family's back together, stronger than ever, right? It's all there. So I would have been losing my mind at soon to be named Network North or at your house or at my house. I would have broke the button off my jeans. I'd have been screaming for my bucket of hats. Everything, So we get to the curtain call lineup, right? And it's from right to left on the screen. It's Claudio, Danielson, Mox, Yuta, Pac. And then everybody starts to break off. Pac and Yuta go together off into the corner. Mox spins out. And Dragon and Claudio are in the ring. And everybody does a double take. Because Claudio European uppercuts Danielson to the ground. Now, you watched it live.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your head at when Claudio makes the first move?
I knew when Claudia made the first move, I knew, okay, shoot, it's going to be Claudio and Mox.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense because you have Claudio's obviously kind of like the heavy. Jon Moxley's also the star and the heavy.
He's his own heavy.
And yeah, Marina. So like Claudio's like the heavy of the heavies.
And Marina's not in the picture right now.
Mhm.
Marina's not a part of anything that's going on
Right.
at this moment.
Right. So the uppercut happens. And what stuck out to me was like Danielson's selling of it.
Shock.
So like it put him on his butt.
Right.
And it's not that he was surprised that a turn happened. He was surprised that it was Claudio.
Right.
Like it could have been John. And I think he would have seen it coming or understood it.
Right.
But coming from Claudio, who he went to bat for, who he went into blood and guts with, who he's been to war with,
who stepped up for him
and yeah,
when he couldn't fight at Forbidden
at Blood
Door.
and Guts, right? Forbidden Door, that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, where he fought
So, like,
Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah. So for Claudio to like be the one who sticks the knife in the back,
The first knife.
it was such a good sell from Danielson.
Yeah.
And now we get to the good stuff.
And by good stuff, I mean a murder? An attempted murder? Jon Moxley reaches into his pocket and pulls out a large plastic bag and proceeds to cover Danielson's entire head, take him to the mat, and smother him while Pac is restraining Yuta, who is showing more emotion in this moment than he has in his entire AEW career. And Marina Shafir appears and just starts taking out officials, including Bryce Remsburg. And I am flabbergasted. I saw it before I watched it live. This is, I don't know what's more real. Hangman setting fire to a man's house or Mox trying to do a live murder on pay-per-view. Like, how bad were you freaking out when you saw the bag?
I was standing up. I went from oh. Pro wrestling is back, baby.
Okay.
There's so much going on here though with like Marina, like you said, right? Keep everybody at bay. Claudio doing the same. Moxley. And this really stuck out to me because so much in wrestling, especially over the last 20 years, when somebody's doing a bad, it's cold, it's callous, no remorse, right? And like we get told these things, but the person actually doing it, wrestlers aren't trained actors. So sometimes it can be hard to pull off those things. And then you're also adding in the live feedback from an arena full of people. And that is hard to not react to. And then you're adding in cameras and everything else, right? Moxley, I don't think I've ever seen a wrestler look as so like matter-of-factly about something that they had to do.
Yeah, like to some people, this is a betrayal most foul. Like, how dare they do this to Bryan Danielson? But for Mox, it's like, this is a necessary evil. He is weak. And if you go back and listen to Mox's promo, where he was like talking about people taking this for granted.
Yes.
And for people expecting things, or for people to expect things to be given to them. Like, it absolutely fits Danielson in this like final countdown run. Danielson is taking this for granted. He's weak. He's showing weakness. He is laying all of his cards on the table. He is asking someone to send him home. And Mox said, I'm not going to let you have that joy. I'm going to take it from you. Enjoy your dirt nap. And like, so, okay. So we get the betrayal most foul. And as soon as Mox is done, they all peacefully leave the ring, including Pac. And they all kind of look at Wheeler and go, like, give him a nod. Like, go ahead and get your guy. Like, you are now free. Our beef is not with you unless you want the smoke. Like, this was his free pass. He was he was able to come to the club admission free.
So this is the aspect I like want to talk about a lot.
Okay.
It's like the head control, like the arm triangle that Pac kind of had Yuta in just to keep him at bay. Didn't harm him, wasn't inflicting any damage, was just keeping him at bay so that what needed to happen could happen. And then they all walk out, and then they look back, like you said, knowing Yuta is a man, but Yuta is a young man in their world. And he may not be built with the same DNA that they have.
No.
Yet.
Possibility.
And that's what I like about all this is yet. They didn't beat Yuta up yet. Their issue is not with Yuta. Yet. They look back like you maybe could join us.
Like the next decision you make, and I don't even think the next decision of going to check on Danielson. I even think that they're including checking on Danielson as a part of the free pass.
Yes, because they knew, hey, this is happening by shock.
It's shock, yes.
We know this is your guy. This is the guy that brought you in.
He's the guy who fought for you to join the BCC.
Right.
And so Wheeler is fiery. He likes to go in headstrong. I think we're going to watch another murder on Dynamite when Wheeler tries to 4v1 these guys.
So that's what I'm looking forward to too. Because
Wheeler just dying.
I think they're going to give him. They won't murder him. They're going to give him enough to know we could have murdered you, but we're not. So yeah, I'm really intrigued by that.
Yeah,
because this could go where like Yuta is by Bryan's side and gets beat up enough times, and he's like, "Nah, you know what? That's what I need to be." Because like that's Yuta's like little character journey that he's on, is like being the best that he can be.
Right.
And like he's constantly looking to upgrade his training. The best friends to the BCC. Okay, what's next? Like that fits Yuta's story.
But also, at a certain point, Wheeler has to become his own man.
Mm-hmm.
And for him to betray Danielson and just become the fifth guy behind Marina Shafir in this group, who may or may not still be adding Darby Allin to the group, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that works for Wheeler. If anything, this sets Wheeler up to, like, think of like Batman and Robin, right? Robin is so close to Batman that when Batman no longer like is saving Gotham, when Batman's no longer being like the savior of Gotham, Robin's ready to be his own man and become Nightwing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Yuta is in that leveling up stage where he could very well take the mantle of American Dragon. Not saying he's going to become the American Dragon Wheeler Yuta, but like be that like young fiery presence underneath Danielson and like let the last breath of fire that comes out of the dragon get bestowed, imbued into Wheeler to make him be the charge that leads the group against this group, this super group, where he has to go back to the best friends. He reaches out to OC. He reconnects. He's a different man. He starts pulling pieces together. He starts cobbling together this amalgam of whatever you would call it. There's still a lot there, right? So much so that, like, to me, the beatdown we got it all out is enough for me to say Bryan Danielson can no longer compete in AEW. He's going to go away, and that AEW title is vacant.
Mm.
Or you get an interim title. Okay. And everybody loves interim titles.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's what I got.
Go ahead.
I think Mox washes Danielson at Wrestle Dream.
For like 4 minutes? Just literally stomps him out?
Yeah. Like, it is a back and forth match. Whatever. But it will be a decisive finish. And it will not be a classic in the struggle.
It's like Mox Punk.
Yeah.
The first one.
He soundly defeats Danielson. And I think it's so bad that Danielson goes away. And I think that we get some other players involved. To me, hopefully, a returning Eddie Kingston. Even if he's not 100%, they beat down Eddie to take him off TV some more so that Eddie can continue to heal. And then when he's ready, you've already lit that spark. And then when Eddie needs a partner, you can enter Danielson.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a personal issue. And that is very easy to get around the whole retirement thing. If he's coming back for a blood feud, if he's coming back for a personal issue, if he's coming back for an unresolved manner.
It's a fight. It's a lights out match.
If he's coming back to help somebody that just gained his respect in the last year, at that point it'll be 2 years.
And you still have Yuta in the picture.
Right.
Where like Yuta impresses King with standing up and being his own man, that he's not just somebody's young boy anymore. And it's like the unlikely grouping of King and Yuta. And they need to even the odds more, and you get Danielson. And then you get the insane tag team match of what? Mox, Claudio, and Pac versus Eddie Kingston, Bryan Danielson, and Wheeler Yuta.
Or is it Darby? Like, there's so many possibilities.
And then, or is it Daniel Garcia, who we've talked about?
Right.
Who Garcia's now found that maniacal edge. Like, Does he get into that? Does he get involved somewhere in this? Like,
Yeah.
which would be an incredible callback to like the entire birth of the BCC, where it's like the BCC just was trying to pick between Garcia and Yuta, and Garcia chose Jericho. Like, it's so good, man. Like, I'm glad AEW is focusing now. Because I know the big narrative that a lot of people are talking about is like people saying that a lot of people's knock on AEW is they don't tell stories. They do tell stories. They have told stories.
Mm-hmm.
They just haven't necessarily been good, or they've not necessarily come to fruition. Right? Yeah. Now they're starting to come to fruition.
And not all their stories are green eggs and ham.
Right.
Sometimes they tell some stories that you really got to follow, or you have to know the backstory, or you have to know what happened in the previous book.
Right. For sure. For sure. I'm all the way here for it. I'm locked in. I want to see what's next with Mox's group. That I need to look to see if the phrase that I used in the group chat. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it's a tag team. Dang it. Who is this?
What's this?
Oh, interesting. Cool. So the phrase that I used in the group chat with you and Brett for this group was Violence Unlimited.
Okay.
Violence Unlimited has a twofold purpose. It was an independent tag team of Tyler Bateman and Brody King.
Mm-hmm.
But Violence Unlimited is also a song from Brody King's band, God's Hate. So they can't use that. But whatever this group is, I want to see more of it. I want to see for as deep as it is right now, I feel like we're just scratching the surface.
We're only getting started. Yeah, that's what I really like about this.
We've only just begun. So yes, I'm locked in. I'm strapped in. I'm ready to go. Load the spaceship with the rocket fuel.
Load it up.
Let's go to town, boys. So that is everything for All Out. I know myself, I'm ready to enjoy some time away from pay-per-views and PLEs for a little bit, and just have televised wrestling. Especially since now we're getting the next thing now is the shakeup of the WWE television programming with with SmackDown going to USA and NXT heading to the CW. Joe Tessitore on the call for Monday Night Raw. He definitely didn't sound out of place, but he definitely didn't feel comfortable. There was a lot of reading from Joe Tessitore. But he sounded in place. He didn't sound like a guy who didn't belong there. And I would have known that very quickly from just a small sample size of his. But as we continue through this, we can talk about my experiences at Three Legacies, I guess.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, so I missed All Out because I was on the call for Three Legacies Wrestling in Lancaster, PA. It is Ricardo Rodriguez's promotion, and it was their second year anniversary show. But nobody really wants to care about that. I did the call with Chris O'Mealy. Everything was fun. But what everybody wants to talk about is, did I or did I not get the Mark pick with Chris Van Vliet? Chris Van Vliet was
the
there.
world wants to know.
That's right. The world is watching. So Chris Van Vliet is there. They do a little angle at the beginning of the show with like Bryn Remsburg and Ricardo and this other indie guy named Kevin Murphy. And of course, Chris Van Vliet. So he's doing like autograph signings, photo ops, whatever. But after the show, like I was looking to try to like pick my time to go over and like bug Chris. Right. Because I didn't want to do it before the show because I got to the building a little later than what I'd like to have been there. Like I asked what time I should be there and they were like, yeah, that'll work. And that was like 30 minutes before doors.
Okay.
Which was kind of weird that they wanted me there so late. But so I get there and like, so all during like the pre-show, Chris has got a line. And during like intermission, Chris has got a line. And after the show, Chris has got a line. So I'm like, or even after intermission, I'm like, okay, Chris isn't sticking around. He's going to pack all of his stuff up. He's going to get out of town. Right. Like he's already made it through intermission. He's not going to stick around.
He's got to recharge the robot.
That's right. He's got to recharge the robot. And so he gets out there and he stays for after the show. And so we're all tearing down or whatever. And then the main event happens because now all the boys see Chris. It's like, cool. Now we can go bug Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And I went over and he was a really sweet guy. Absolutely fantastic. I don't care if this incriminates me. I enjoy his stuff. I am a fan of Chris's, honestly. I find him to be the least offensive of everybody else who does like his shtick. Cause he doesn't come across as he's not a journalist per se. Like he does a journalism, but he does feature pieces on people. And like his interview style is, I find his interview style refreshing.
He does wrestling media that like your aunt asks you, hey, did you see this on Facebook?
Cool by me. Cause
there's a spot for that. I ain't mad at it. I just don't think he's a real person, but
he's absolutely a real person. I touched flesh. There wasn't like a robot-y exterior. I thought he was taller than he was.
He's a little guy.
Yeah. I'm not a big guy. I mean, I'm wide, but I'm not tall. I'm wide man, not big man. And so, yeah, man, he was really cool, super nice. Like, asked me questions about myself and like me and what I do and everything. And it was just super cool, super chill. So, if you're in the Discord in the TNM Shows channel and you get to the podcast point right now, check the TNM Shows feed and you will see the mark picture of me and Chris Van Vliet hamming it up for the camera. So consider me George W. Bush on an aircraft carrier with a giant banner behind me that says mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
That's right. Yeah. Gotta go watch the Rangers play. Uh-huh. So yeah, man, super fun. I didn't think that 2024 was going to be the year I got back and actually doing like commentary. This is like my third show this year.
The business always comes calling.
Yeah, and that's like what I had said to like Chris. Like he asked like how long I've been doing commentary, like on and off for this and that. Like, he's like, I thought the door on my commentary closed. I was completely happy never doing commentary again. I called that one match with Boar and Erica at LVAC with Joe. It was the worst commentary I had ever done, but it was a bucket list. I could seal it up right there and die a happy man in commentary and never do it again. But you know, how dare you laugh at God and tell him your plans, right? You know, things come up.
Especially the wrestling god.
That's right. I told JBL he could stick it, and he was like, nah, Mago, you go get out there and you go talk some more. So yeah, man, it was cool. Calling him Chris O'Mealy from CKCC Radio. That was really fun. That was awesome. Good time. And like just doors open for me. I'm happy to be there again. Happy to come back wherever it is. But yeah, man, it was super fun. I'm super excited. And I'm glad I kind of went out of my shell and got the photo with Chris. Like I'm definitely not that guy. Like I don't know if of another time that like I've gotten the quote unquote mark pick, aside from like the times when I was like 25 years or 25 years younger, 20 years younger, and going and standing in line to meet like John Cena or
Right.
MVP or whatever.
Like, but even since you were last regularly doing commentary, like that aspect of the business and etiquette has shifted to where like, no, if there's somebody there who you want to meet, like have a moment with them and get a picture, and whether you put it up or whether you just save it for yourself or whatever, like you have it.
Right. And that's one thing I regret. Like I regret, especially the times when like things were running really good with like excellence. I wish I had gotten more photos with me candidly with all the guys I like we shared all those moments with, right?
Right.
I don't have any of them. So it's like it was back in a time.
It's also tough because
yeah,
when you're in it and you don't stop and really think about it because you're in it, and we'll do this again next month, right? We'll do this again in 3 or 4 weeks, and you're just in it. And then before you know it,
you're not
things
in
change,
it.
You're not in it, and you're like, oh shoot, people go do this or that, or you lose connection with them, or they quit the business, or you quit the business, or you know, people pass away, and you're like, oh shoot, I wish I had something to remember those times. And you don't, because you were too busy in it. So you have the memories, but you don't have anything tangible.
Right. And it's like the expression from The Office. Like, I wish somebody, like, everybody talks about the good old days, but nobody tells you when they are. Like, I wish somebody would tell me that I'm currently in the good old days so that I could enjoy it a little bit more and not like look back fondly on those times, but to look fondly on those times when I'm in them. And that's where it is now. So it's like, I look to take more photos with more people later in life. I try to avoid getting in front of the camera just because it's like, especially now there's like a fine line in like our, like, in like 2024 culture, everybody's so focused on like not being in the moment and like capturing everything on video or film for like posterity instead of like being present in the moment. And so it's like, where do you draw the line between like capturing a moment forever on like video or photo, or just living on the memory of that time?
Mm-hmm.
And I struggle to pull myself away from the latter and move to the former. Whereas like, I remember when like my mom would like try to take pictures of me during like cool stuff when I was a kid, and I would hate it because I'm like, why are you taking my picture for this? It's stupid. But it's like, I'm gonna want these pictures later. Maybe not this year or next year, but like 5-10 years down the line, when I'm trying to remember all the stuff I've done and all the people I've met and all the cool people I've seen and all the cool friends I met along the way. not having those kind of suck. So, but it's still good, man. So it's a story for all of us. Like, tell the people you care about that you love them when you love them, and like, don't let the sun set on getting your ish in, brother.
Yeah, take the pics.
Take the picture.
I know Joe says it, but yeah, take the pics. Enjoy yourself. Have a moment with somebody, and yeah, you just at the very least you will always have that, and you'll always have a story.
Right. And then you will always be able to reserve the right to destroy that photo when years down the line, they too get canceled like everyone else.
When the great robot war happens, you'll be like, this was the plant. And you can point to Chris Van Vliet.
He was the Canadian contingent from the robot uprising that took over the world. As we shift gears, Marcus, did you buy anything this week?
I did buy a little something this week.
Ooh.
It was not fig related though.
Okay.
It was tea.
Oh,
I bought a bunch of tea. Yeah.
Nice.
As it gets warmer, I'm going to be having like...
You mean as it gets colder?
Sorry, as it gets colder. I'm going to want to feel warmer. So, yeah, I'm going to be flying through the tea. So, rather than like go to the grocery store and like, oh, I hope they have my flavor. I just have an account with the main company that I really like that sells teas. So, I just get a box of tea every now and then, or a shipment of tea, and then I'm set for 6 months or so. So, that was my big weekly purchase this week. Anything for you?
I think I was relatively a good boy. I didn't buy anything really. Shameful, but I wish I did. I look to do better next week and buy something. It just sucks because like figs around here are slim pickings. Like I'm going to Walmart's every week and it's still the same old, and like the Targets are just it's dry. It's so dry.
Yeah.
So
not a dry season for figs right now, but that's all right. It'll pick up.
It's okay. Sooner or later it'll be a holiday and we're gonna just make a killing at Ringside Collectibles and get everything we want and go from there. Do you have anything to plug?
No plugs for me?
Not anytime soon. We will as we get closer to October, I'm sure. But all that's left right now is to remind you guys that we are proud members of the Soon to Be Named Network at STBN Network on Twitter. Soon to Be Named Network.tumblr.com is your spot to catch all of the podcasts on the network, including but not limited to our wrestling offerings of At Odds with Wrestling with Joe and Adam and We Need Wrestling with DJ and Brett. I know it's way past due, but happy late birthday to Brett. Happy early birthday to DJ. We're getting it all out of the way now. If you want to hear Marcus and Brett and I talk about football for 3.5 hours, go to the At Odds Patreon, patreon.com/At Odds with Wrestling. It is free. It's available also on the At Odds Twitter. Follow them at Odds Wrestling. So it's very easy, a very digestible 3.5 hour conversation about football. We'll try to time it a lot better next season, hopefully. But it is super fun. Also check out Wings on Wings. Are on the home stretch. It's definitely a good time and a fun time, and they're not going to be around for a long time after they're done. A shout out to our third man, DeWicki, killing it right now on stage. They are finally in production for his latest musical stylings. I believe it's Jersey Boys. Is that right?
I think you're right. I believe you're right.
I think that's right. DeWicki will tell me if I'm wrong, and I will retract it immediately at the top of the show next week if I am wrong. But DeWicki's the man, always and forever. Jingle Meister. Often imitated, never duplicated. We will be back here next week, talk about all the happenings in the world of professional wrestling. Very sad we missed Ed this week coming down from Colossal Con. We definitely need to find a way to get all of us together in one space. Maybe like a soon to be named network family reunion of some kind where we just all get together. But all that's left right now, though, Marcus, is to tell the people goodbye.
Bye, boys.